Hello, friend. God bless you. I want to share with you on what I titled, There Will Always Be a Storm Before the Deliverance. There will always be a storm before the deliverance. Now, in Luke chapter 8, we see the story of the demon-possessed man in gatherings. This man had been plagued. This man's life had been plagued by demons. All right, the legion had plagued his life, such that the man has lost control of his own life. Emotionally, he was down. Physically, he was wounded. He was down, cutting himself and causing harm to himself. Spiritually, he was down. In all areas of his life, these demons had come in and plagued, and the man had lost control. People had given up on him. Night and day, the man sat down, destroying his life as a result of the demonic power in him. The demons had desired to ruin his life. The demons had desired to wound him and to make him battered and tattered. And it was almost as though there was no hope. It was almost as though help was not coming from anywhere. And from the study of scriptures, I understand that this man had a destiny, was carrying a powerful destiny on his head. No, his life, the destiny of 10 cities was tied to this man's life, as we will see in the scriptures. And so, this man, night and day, he kept on cutting himself, he kept on wounding himself, he kept on destroying everything. The devils wanted to ruin him completely. But the story does not end there. On the other side of the lake was Jesus. In the book of Luke chapter 8, that should be from verse 22. We see Jesus in verse 22. He says, it came to pass in a certain day, all right, that he went into a ship with his disciples, and he said to them, let us go over on the other side of the lake. And they launched forth. Now, on this side of the lake was Jesus. On the other side of the lake was the demon-possessed man. The man had lost hope. The man was in a place where dead people lived. The Bible said he was in the grave. He had lost hope. And so, Jesus was on the other side. And Jesus had told the disciples, he said, let us go to the other side. The man did not know that deliverance was coming. But Jesus said, let us go to the other side. Jesus was bringing deliverance to this man. Now, what separated this man from Jesus was the lake. And as Jesus and the disciples began to come across the lake to meet this other man, on the other side, there was a storm. Let's read in the book of Luke chapter 8. We see in verse 23, it says, but as they sailed, he fell asleep. And there came down a storm of wind on the lake, and they were filled with water, and they were in jeopardy. And they came to him and awoke him, saying, Master, Master, we perish. Then he arose and rebuked the wind and the raging of the water, and they ceased, and there was a calm. Now, in between this man's deliverance and Jesus, there was a storm. There was a storm. The sea arose and said, no, deliverance cannot come to this man. The sea stood to fight against this man. The wind stood to fight against this man. There was trouble between this man and his deliverance. There will always be a storm before your deliverance. The forces of nature will always arise to fight against your deliverance. The sea, the storm, will always arise to say no to your deliverance. But when Jesus is involved, when it's the Lord who is helping you, those forces can never withstand him. When it's the Lord who is fighting your battles, the forces of nature, the sea, the wind, the storm can never hinder him. And so Jesus arose and rebuked the wind. He arose and calmed the sea and said, peace be still. And there was a calm. And then that paved the way for the deliverance of this man. What am I saying today? What am I trying to point? There will always be a storm. Now, there will always be a storm doesn't mean that your deliverance will not come. But it depends on whom you are looking up to for your deliverance. When you look to men, you see, there are so many people who have looked to men and men have failed them. Not because those men didn't want to help them. Not because those men didn't have a genuine intention of helping them, but as they sought to help them, there was a storm. And the storm arose, and they were shaking, and there was nothing they could do again. You see, we must understand what happens in life. Many people are without help because of the storms that the devil has designed to stop their helpers from getting across to them. Here was the man in trouble, and here was his helper coming, but the storm arose. There will always be a storm before the deliverance. Now, what can we learn from that story? What can we learn from the story of this man in Luke chapter 8? You see, we must learn that one, storms are always there to hinder deliverance. Storms are always there to hinder breakthrough. Storms are always there to hinder testimony. Number two, when it seems as though nothing is happening after prayers, when it seems as though nothing is happening, there is no light, there is no hope, keep on praying, because it is darkest before dawn. It is darkest before the breakthrough. The man had been on the tomb, had been there crying, almost giving up. And then Jesus, that was his help, coming across to him, faced a storm. And then as Jesus prevailed over the storm, the deliverance of the man was guaranteed. If the man had lost hope, if the man had not been able to withstand those demonic pressure and had eventually lost hope, there will have been no help for him. And so I'm telling you, you that have waited for long, you that have been there in that situation for long, you that have tarried and waited for long, and it's as though there is no light, your deliverance is on the way. God will never leave you. God will never forsake you. God will never cast you off if you put your hope in him. The popular psalm says, I will lift up my eyes up to the hills. From whence comes my help? My help comes from God, who made the heavens and the earth. If God has the capacity to make the heaven and earth and to sustain it, God has the capacity to help you. God has the capacity to sustain your life. That man's life was hanging on the balance. That man had lost any hope of deliverance. A legion. Imagine, the demons had plagued his life. Thousands of demons were in the man. And the man had no will, had no power, had no ability to control the wheels of his life. But Jesus came for him. Jesus came for him. Jesus withstood the storm. Jesus will withstand the plague in your life. Jesus will withstand the storm that is about to hinder you. Jesus will withstand that family delay. Jesus will withstand that barrier. Jesus will withstand all those things that are standing on your way to breakthrough. Jesus will calm the storm of your life. I want you to have this hope in him. I want you to have confidence in God. If God could do it for that man who did not even have the covenant, if God could do it for that man, just because that man had a destiny, had a great purpose in life. You see, after the deliverance of that man, we see that the man went. When we read the book of Luke chapter 8, all right, after the man was delivered, in verse 39, Jesus told him, he said, return to your house and show how great things God has done to thee. And he went his way and published throughout the whole city how great things Jesus had done unto him. Now, here's the conclusion of the whole matter. This man had a destiny, had a powerful destiny. 10 cities. The Bible said the Decapolis, 10 cities were tied. The destiny of 10 cities were tied to this man. And that was why the devil wanted to finish him. That was why Satan wanted to ruin his life. And as soon as Jesus delivered him, the man went to those cities and began to preach and began to tell how great things God had done and began to proclaim the name of the Lord. That was what the devil wanted to stop in his life. The devil wanted to stop him from fulfilling his destiny. That's the same thing the devil wants to do in your life. The devil wants to make sure that you do not fulfill that destiny God had ordained in your life. The devil wants to make sure that you do not become what God has planned you to be in life. And that's why you must fight. That's why you must persist. That's why you must stand your ground. Because as God said it, He will do it. God bless you. Thank you so much.